for a month, took them off, dipped them in toilet water, and then stuffed them right into your mouth.
But it had to be like warm toilet water.
Warm.
How dare you guys say that? We're talking about British food here. Food from the UK? Nah, I'm not gonna believe that. Not for a second. Hey guys, it's your Island Girl and we're back. And I'm back with another one for you today. And today we are watching The Wandering Ravens. The link will be in the description below. And they're talking about 10 foods they have never seen until they visit the UK. And they're talking about Marmite, Haggis, toad in a hole, and all different kinds of food that they have never seen or had until they got to the UK. And all you guys are going to want to watch this because they are so wrong for this. How dare you? How dare them? Let's get into this one. So if you're new here, welcome. Let me know your thoughts on this one in the comment section. And don't forget to hit the like, hit the subscribe. You won't regret it if you do. And to all my regular smegglers, day one, city pie, city poos, come on in right back. Put a smile on your face and enjoy this video with your girl. Let's get into this one because this one's getting me heated. Here we go now.
Toilet water. Oh, hey guys, I'm Eric.
And I'm Grace. We're the Wandering Ravens.
Okay.
We're a couple of digital nomads who have been wandering around the world for over 3 years, and we make videos about travel and culture.
If either of those topics interests you, make sure you subscribe to our channel and hit the little bell icon so that you can get notified every time we release a new video.
Today we're introducing you to 10 foods we had never seen before going to the UK.
This video was chosen by voters on our YouTube community page, so if you want to have a say in future topics that we discuss on this channel, make sure you subscribe.
And vote. Are you ready?
Yes, let's do this.
Okay. Here goes, guys. Foods they've never seen before. Coming to the UK.
Marmite. So Marmite is essentially just a really, really salty yeast extract that is spread on toast and butter. So you have bread and butter, and then you have Marmite on top.
The first and only time I've had Marmite, I had one question burning in my head, and that was, why?
Did it taste good?
No!
Was it salty?
Yeah! It tasted basically like someone had taken butter, taken all of the good flavor out of the butter, and just heaped on salt, maybe mixed in a little bit of a greasy meat flavor, and then just across a piece of bread. We're really starting this video on a high note with a food that we dislike, but we just had to get this out of the way. Marmite, to our taste buds, was just
strange.
Very strange.
Now the question is, which came first? Marmite or Vegemite?
And is Marmite something that people crave, or is this just a, it's all right sort of food? Let us know down below. Clotted cream.
Okay, the Marmite, I've heard other persons talk about the Marmite before. P.O. box is in the description below if you'd like to send it my way for me to try it. But I hear this one is an acquired taste. It's either you love it or you hate it. That's what I've heard so far from the Marmite. That's the number one thing. And for persons who do love it, they say it's good. You just have to spread it thinly on a toast slice of bread, very thinly. And for those who hate it, say it doesn't matter if you spread it thin, light, or none at all, or just want it to twap, it still tastes awful. So there you have it. Let's move on to the second one.
Clotted cream is a very thick, buttery, just delectable dairy cream. It is delicious. The first time I ever had this was in the UK. It was incredible. I loved it. And every time I had scones, scones.
I've heard in the UK you can pronounce it scones or scones, and it's a regional thing. Is that right?
Please don't bite my head off. In America, we say scones. Not trying to be offensive. Your clotted cream is very good. Very good.
I had always assumed clotted cream was just one of those things you read in books and not really something that people ate anymore. It's just like something that's...
You hear about it?
Yeah, not really in existence. Either that or it's some form of like cottage cheese or other cheese.
That's what I was gonna say.
Esque thing.
growing up, when we heard about clotted cream being a thing in the UK, I always assumed it was a cottage cheese consistency. So some sort of cheesy cream with big curds in there.
It doesn't actually sound horribly pleasant based off of the name, but it is super good.
Mm-hmm.
And I ate lots of it before I found out I couldn't eat dairy. Crumpets!
So this is my first time hearing about the clotted cream. I've never heard any other person that I've videos that I've looked at talk about foods that they've never seen. This is my first time hearing that one. And based on how they're saying it, it is good. My mouth is watering because you guys know I'm a foodie, but it sounds amazing. So it's just creamy. You can add it to your scones or maybe bread or yeah. And here's another one. Oh God. Just the way it looks and the way people talk about the crumpets. So this one I've heard about.
So in the States, we always joke about having tea and crumpets. But then when we went to the UK, we were like, oh wow, crumpets are really a thing.
Yeah, it was really shocking for me because I had always assumed that crumpets were a kind of biscuit. And so when we arrived in the UK and I found out that crumpets are these massive bread things, they're very similar to what we would call an English muffin in the United States. For my American friends, they're just a massive English muffin. So just seeing those in person was very,
they're real! Crumpets are real! Oh yes, when I was growing up, somebody told me that in the UK, do you guys have these things called Nilla wafers? They're like little round biscuit things.
Yeah.
And they're vanilla flavored. And when I was growing up, I was told that the English people call these crumpets.
Really?
And so I believed that Nilla wafer cookies were crumpets.
Oh, okay.
Question for you, how do you eat a crumpet? Because we just found them in the shop, and so the way we ate them was I put them in a toaster and then lather them in butter and have them with breakfast. But is there a specific meal time or way to eat crumpets? Let us know down in the comments. Pork pie. From what we understand, pork pies are basically a bunch of chopped up pork wrapped in a thick, greasy pork jelly stuffed inside of a pastry shell and then baked.
And sometimes this pastry shell is in the shape of a loaf, like it's baked in a loaf pan, and other times it's round like an actual...
Like a pie.
Like a pie.
Our honest reaction to pork pie was that it was pretty disgusting. And I know that sounds really harsh. We're not trying to be culturally insensitive, but just, taste, you're used to the taste you grew up with, and it does take a little bit to adjust to the food of a new culture. A couple of things that made pork pie really different for us were, one, it's served cold. At least all the times that we had it was cold.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Which in America, you don't really ever eat cold meat. Only a few very rare dishes.
Meats.
Yeah. But if you're going to have a pie, it's always hot. So that was a bit odd to begin with. And then another thing was the pork jelly. So these pork pies have this thick layer of fat around them. And so every bite you take there's a bit of meat, a bit of crust, and then just a bunch of fat. Americans don't really like their animal fat. They really, if you have a piece of steak, you're cutting off the fat and you're not eating that part. You skim the fat off of soups. You don't eat that. So that is a big hurdle for us to overcome when it comes to eating food in the UK, is that there is a lot of animal fat. And so just the way we grew up was not eating animal fat. Pork pies are full of this thick animal fat. And so that was a shocking thing for us to experience.
We've had the same reaction when visiting Asia, and we've tried foods there that had that really fatty texture to them. Like eel, we had eel in Japan, and it had that really fatty texture to it, and we both just, it's a no-go at that rate. If it's like, it feels like you're eating your tongue. It's really nasty.
That's awful. Yeah. But we're not judging you guys. We're not saying it's bad food. We're just saying that the taste that we grew up with, it's a different set of tastes.
Yeah.
And we are very brave eaters, and we are happy to try new things. And also, if there's a cultural food that we dislike, we tend to try it again and again and again and eventually acquire a taste for it. Like we did that with a lot of food in Korea and Japan. And so we are very happy to continue eating pork pie in the UK.
Yes.
I won't be avoiding it in the future just because it's an odd dish for me, if that makes sense.
I feel like we could really easily acquire a taste for it as well because it's savory. It has a good flavor.
Very hearty.
Yeah, it is. Haggis. This is a
It's like they can't make up their mind on this pork pie. I'm sorry. It's like, it's disgusting. But then it's a very savory taste, and we don't like fat. The excuse is piling on, and then it's like, when you say something and you think you said something that you shouldn't have said, and then you try to polish it off. That's what it gives, to be honest with you. But I've never heard anybody say that the pork pie is disgusting. I've always heard good things about it. Now, I don't eat pork, so that one I'll never try when I get there. But based on my understanding, it's very yummy. You have this thick outer layer, and then you have this pork. It's very flavorful on the inside. So when you bite it together, it really tastes good. And that's what I've heard from majority of the videos that do have pork pie as one of the food they have never seen. So I'm surprised that that's their reaction. Now let's move on to haggis.
Scottish food that is made out of sheep's heart,
Yes.
liver, and lung, and is cooked in a sheep's stomach. Or at least, to the best of my knowledge, this is what a haggis is.
And it also has a lot of spices and I think oats and other things like that all mixed in. Now, in contrast to pork pie, you would assume haggis to be a food that Americans dislike because, it's got all those organs in it. And Americans are famous for being picky when it comes to organ meat. But I actually freaking loved haggis. It was so good. I had multiple helpings over multiple days. And a huge shout out to our friends Connie and Jeff, who you can see in this video here, who actually brought a haggis from the UK to France for us to eat with them. It was really good. For my American friends, haggis tastes a lot like American biscuits and gravy. So good.
Okay.
So good.
So like a ground beef sort of thing?
Mm-hmm.
Sort of beef.
Get it ground beefy, and it's got that gravy flavor. We had haggis, I think, with mashed potatoes, didn't we?
Neeps and tatties.
Oh, neeps and tatties. Yeah. Pasties.
So a pasty.
So haggis, I am definitely going to try that when I get there. From my understanding, it's very good. It's very flavorful. It's well seasoned. So I'm excited for this one. As he said, it is good. It is good. So yeah. And they seem to be kind of picky in a sense.
Is a baked pastry that is stuffed with meat and vegetables. And yes, it is as delicious as it sounds.
For my American friends, it looks like a calzone, but it's better.
When we first visited the UK, we did not know how to pronounce this food. We didn't know whether it was pasty or pasty. And thankfully, our good friend Sean was able to set us straight and tell us that it was a pasty before we made too big of fools out of ourselves.
And from what we've heard from our friends in the UK, the origin story behind pasties is that they come from the city of Cornwall. And way back in the day, there were these miners working under the ground, and they were working with some toxic material. I don't remember which one it was. And so they had a problem, which was every time it came time to eat lunch, they would touch the food, the toxins would get from their hands to the food, they would eat the food and poison themselves. So in an effort to keep from poisoning themselves, pasties were invented, and that's why they have the crimped edge, is because the miners would hold that crimped edge while they eat, and then the toxins would only get on the crimped edge, and then they'd finish and throw the crimped edge away.
But that's the best part. I want to learn how to make them. If you have any good pasty recipes, drop them in the comments below. Also, let us know if the origin story that we've heard behind pasties is fact or fiction. Mushy peas! Mushy
Pasties, another one on the list that I've heard of before, and I hear they are delicious! And I definitely can't wait to try them. That's for sure. No going around that. They remind me of empanadas. People call them empanadas here in the States, but in Jamaica, we call them patty. But based on your inside, we are just have ground up meat, well seasoned on the inside with that crust on the outside. Oh my God, the pepper and everything and all them herbs. Yum. Let me not get over myself. This is another one that I've seen. Mushy peas.
Mushy peas?
Mushy?
Mushy. Mashy.
I think it's mushy. We go mushy?
Mushy.
Mush.
I think it's mushy.
Mushy. It's so
People are going to be like, they're saying the same thing. They're saying the same thing.
I think, well, in the States, we pronounce it mushy. So I'm assuming it's mushy is
Yes.
the UK.
I also think that it's mushy.
Mushy. So, besides that small linguistic difference, there is another thing to be said about mushy peas. The first time we encountered it was in London. We were at this pub. I ordered fish and chips, and it came with a side of the mushy peas. And at first glance, I thought, is that wasabi? Or something like that. Yeah, it was very confusing. And then I decided I'd take a bite and see, and I lifted it up with a spoon, and okay, those are peas. I see they're just smashed peas, basically. And then I ate it, and then that's when my mind really exploded.
What is this?
Yeah.
Taste buds are so confused
Very
because the
confused.
flavor is not really something, it's not really a flavor combination that you would ever imagine.
Yeah.
Ah.
What mushy peas are is peas smashed and infused with mint and sugar.
Yes.
There's a bit of sweetness to it
Yeah,
as
so
well.
it's kind of like a sweet side that goes with savory things, but it's peas and mint.
Yeah, which is not a combination you would see in the States. So I was very surprised. Pleasantly surprised, though, because it's not a bad combination. To practice my subdued British compliments, it wasn't bad. Digestives.
Now, unlike
Gotta be honest on that. I've heard of mushy peas before, and I've never heard it explained in that way. And I can't imagine just putting that in my mouth and that pepper mint flavor coming out of that peas. And it just have this creaminess about it. And it has a little sugar added. Yeah. The way they explain it, I'm going to give this one to them. The way they explain it sounds so amazing. Just the thought, I can picture it. I can taste it. It's like I can literally taste the way that they're explaining it. I like that. I'm definitely going to try that. And he said that it came with the side of his fish and chips. Hey, baby, I'm coming. Did they explain it right? Let me know in the comment section. Digestives, love them. Used to get them in Jamaica as a kid. So, and I'm assuming it's the same thing.
like the name suggests, I don't think that this is actually for digestion purposes. Is it?
Mhm.
No,
Why
it's not.
are digestives called digestives?
The
Because
name.
the name does not match the wonderful beauty which is the cookie
It's so good.
biscuit.
Biscuit. Yeah,
Biscuit.
get it right, man.
I had never heard of digestives before going to the
Me
UK.
neither.
Have you?
No.
Yeah. So it was a pleasant surprise. The folks we were staying with had a pack of digestives in the cupboard. And for a few days, I avoided it because it just, it doesn't, the word digestives makes you think of some healthy organic cracker, which is full of-
Laxative.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's full of like flax or something.
That's
It's
what
supposed
I
to
was
bring on the
thinking.
bowel movement.
I was thinking it was a flax biscuit, basically. But then eventually, we pulled them out, served them up, and they were delicious.
They are.
And after that, for the rest of our time staying in the UK, we didn't stay anywhere longer than a day or two and not get a package of digestives and
Yeah.
put them in the cupboard.
Yeah, they're so good. Dipping them in tea or dipping them in coffee. I hope that's what you're supposed to do. That's what we did.
Stinking Bishop. Now, this is a type of cheese that is washed in fermented pear juice. And like the name suggests, it is extremely smelly. It makes all of the lists. If you Google stinkiest cheeses on earth, this is on all of the lists. And
Oh.
yes, we actually had some.
This was at a cheese shop in Bath. We stayed there for 5 days. Not the cheese shop, but the city. And
Basically the cheese shop, though. We went there like every day.
we went to the cheese shop every single day and would buy 200 grams of cheese and then go eat them for dinner. And then sample a whole bunch. And it was really fun. The shopkeeper was a blast and would have us, make great conversation, let us try different things. And so that day, we were like, okay, we've been pretty brave so far, trying some pretty crazy cheeses. What is the stinkiest cheese in this shop? And he said, have you seen Wallace and Gromit and the Curse of the Were-Rabbit?
And we said, yes. And he said, well, this cheese has a cameo in Wallace and Gromit and the Curse of the Were-Rabbit. And following that movie's release, the sale of Stinking Bishop went up by about 500%.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So we tried it, and my gosh, It was literally the worst thing I've ever put in my mouth. The way I've described it in the past is it was like someone wore a pair of woolen socks for a month, took them off, dipped them in toilet water, and then stuffed them right into your mouth.
But it had to be like warm toilet water.
Warm toilet water. Ugh.
It was just
so
nasty. Bad. And in the movie, if you have not seen The Curse of the Were-Rabbit, in the movie, this cheese is used to, I believe, bring Wallace back from a state of unconsciousness. He is either unconscious.
They waft the cheese.
Yes, and they make him waft the cheese while he's unconscious, and then he wakes up because the smell is that powerful. And the smell would not wash off our hands for several days. Just a realistic question for you guys. Is Stinking Bishop the type of cheese that you actually eat for pleasure? Like, is there a scenario in which you're having a dinner party and you take out the Stinking Bishop and everyone's like, this is such great cheese? Or is it more of just like a novelty thing? Like, this was in Wallace and Gromit. Oh, it's so funny. I'll give it to my nan for Christmas as a joke.
Toad in a hole. When we were in the UK,
Okay. Stinking. Yeah. Let me look at the name again. Stinking Bishop. I have never heard of Stinking Bishop before. Never heard anybody talk about cheese like that before. Any cheese in the UK. I've heard about cheese, but I've never heard anyone complain about cheese. And I'm like, no, guys, you guys, I can understand the smell, but complaining that the way it tastes, so you guys have taste toilet water. I'm sorry I had to go there because that explanation or the way that they describe it, nah. I think they could have found a better way to describe it. The smell. Let me know in the comment section if it's that bad or if I'm going in on them too hard or are they correct based on the Stinking Bishop cheese if it's that bad. Because I've never heard, all I hear is UK cheese is so amazing, and you guys have over 700 variety of cheeses, so I don't get it. Are they correct? Are they not? Let me know, because if they're correct, and then they're saying that the cheese, the smell of the cheese, it was so stinky, it was left on their hand for days. That's a shocker right there.
We went over to some friend's house, actually Connie and Jeff, who we mentioned earlier, and we had this great conversation all about foods which we love. And one of the topics that came up was toad in a hole. And toad in a hole, I think Jeff mentioned it offhandedly. Toad in a hole is a great dish. And we were like, yeah, it's not bad. It's all right. And then we continued talking about toad in a hole and then realized, I don't remember how exactly we realized, but that we were talking about different things. Because in America, toad in a hole looks like this, while in the UK, toad in a hole looks like this.
If I'm being perfectly honest, I think the American toad in a hole makes a little bit more sense.
And it actually looks like something
picture,
in a hole.
Yeah, it's something in a hole. Whereas the UK version doesn't quite look like a toad in a hole. Although, to be fair, it does look better, more tasty to me.
Yeah, then the American one is just toast with egg. Mm-hmm. So it's a bit boring.
Yeah, it is a bit boring. Some mom is like, how can I make this breakfast different than yesterday? I know! I'll chop a hole in the piece of bread and throw an egg in there. British toad in a hole is sausages that are baked into Yorkshire pudding. In America, we eat toad in a hole for breakfast. In the UK, is it the same way? Is toad in a hole a breakfast dish or is it a lunch dish? And is it for certain holidays? Now that's what I'm wondering, because it does look like kind of a festive dish.
And now we're going to turn the conversation over to you. If you've been a tourist in the UK.
Toad in the hole. I did not know that America had a thing called toad in the hole. It's my first time knowing that. It's egg in some of the inner bread that you pick out the middle part. Did not know that, but I've heard your toad in a hole is off the chain. Saucy bacon. Yorkshire pudding up baby with some sausage bake. Ay, baby. Yeah, I hear it's good. My mouth. I'm a foodie, man. Toad in a hole. See, you gotta. It's two different things. Like I said, they thought it was one thing, but then from he may explain and show it's two total different things. So, but I am so on board with going new places and trying new things. I've always said, don't try it once, try it twice. Because maybe you tried the first time, maybe you weren't in a good mood, maybe it's a hit, maybe it's a miss, or maybe it wasn't prepared the way it was supposed to. Try again. Try anything you're gonna try it at least 2 times before you say, this ain't it. I can't do it. But I've never heard of the stinking bishop before, or the cottage cheese, or some cottage cream. I think that's the name of it. Those two was a surprise to me on the list. I think there was another one. I think 3 on the list that I've never heard, but the rest of them, yes. And I am on board. I've never heard them describe some of those the way that they did. From my understanding, everything on the list is amazing, including Marmite, which is either you like it or you don't. It's that is that simple. Yeah. These two to me are like, it's like they can't make up their mind. They can't make up their mind. It's like they say something, they can't stick with it enough. They gotta polish it off to make it sound good because they don't want feel like they don't want to offend anyone. That's how I see it. But good list. Like I said, I've seen a few of them in other videos. So it's the Island Girl, and I'm running out of here. Come on in. Let me know in the comment section if the stinking bishop is the way that they explain. Did I go at them too hard for trying to disrespect my, you know what? British people for you. No. Be good, be kind. Put a smile on your face. You never know who you may cheer up. You don't know what they're going through. Love you guys. Be safe out there. And don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up. It definitely helps the channel. It tells YouTube that you like what you're seeing. Hit the subscribe if you're new here. We welcome you here. We are a big family around here. See you guys in another one, okay? Bye, guys.